All right, since it's October and getting close to Halloween, figure we talk a little bit some scary stories or little horror background. So I'll tell you the first one that I remember that made me believe in ghosts. I was I want to say I was in ninth grade when I was going to Bell High, and during our summer vacation, my mom sent me to Mexico with my grandma. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks. Ended up staying there for close to 6 months. So it sucked.
Shit.
I liked it, but I came back with an accent. I never had this accent. Sister doesn't have it. So when I was over there, I was watching cable because I wasn't used to having cable at home. So I would stay up real late, sometimes to sunrise, 4:35 in the morning, and I'm watching um, cable, right? And I looked at the
Scramble
time,
cable?
sitting with scramble cable. Which one? What is that? Scramble?
Scramble TV? Scramble cable?
I don't know. I don't know what that
Never
is.
mind.
What is it?
Dude, so
Intermax? Is that
back
what
in
you're
the
talking
days,
about?
though,
Scramble
there's also
boxes.
back in the days.
Yeah.
So back in
Yeah.
the
No. No.
days, I remember,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you could see like the porn channels, but it'd be all fucking scrambled. You could see it's like titties coming out.
No, they didn't have that. They had, I think, probably basic cable, but they did have like Cinemax, Showtime, some movie channels, and I'm watching
Right on.
TV, right? And I looked up to see the time because I knew my uncle had to get up early, and I didn't want to be able because then I had to go to work with him. I'm trying to avoid seeing him, and it was he said about 3:15, 3:20 in the morning. I was like, I still got time because he will wake up around 5:30. So I'm watching, and I hear, I was like, what is that? I pushed me on the TV, and I'm just kind of like looking around, like somebody behind me. It stopped, so I put the TV back on, and I'm
Did it
just
sound like it was
watch.
coming from inside the house or like outside?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know if it was a TV or around me, so that's why I muted the TV, and then it stops. I figured, oh, it must be the TV. So when I turned the volume back on the remote, and I'm watching, forgetting about it. Well, it has to be the TV. So I'm flipping the channels and nothing. So no big deal. I went up to my room, went to sleep. I wake up, it's like noon because, I'm sleeping all late. And I go downstairs and first thing I do, I get on the freaking TV, because there's nothing to do out there. And watching TV, and I look up at the little the clock that was hanging on the wall. And picture like a grandfather clock, those big, huge ones. But it was a
Yeah, those
small
little weird ones.
version. Yeah, but it's a small version, like made in China kind, plastic, cheap. And it was hanging on the wall, and it was all dusty. Like you could tell they don't clean it or dust it or nothing. So I went up to it. I lifted it up because it was a movie. It was still stuck at the same time, like 3:20 in the morning. I'm thinking, oh shoot, it stopped working. So I picked it up and I looked behind, and there was no batteries. So I'm thinking that's a crazy coincidence. They must have saw that it stopped working, so they took the battery out and forgot to replace it. I'm thinking that all happened in the morning. So my aunt was washing dishes or getting ready to cook something. My cousin was there, my older cousin. She's 5 years older than me at the time. And I went up to them. I said, hey, do you guys have some batteries so I could replace the clock battery? They're like, what clock? I said, the one in the living room. And they looked like, we haven't replaced those batteries in years. No, I was working last night. I saw it. Because I saw the freaking seconds hands moving. And they looked at me. Oh, my aunt, my cousin goes, oh, did you hear? I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's going on, right? And then my aunt looked at her and told her like shut up in Spanish, right? And
Don't
then she's
scare
like, yeah, she's like, let me tell her. My cousin's like, let me tell him. She's like, no, no le digas, don't tell him. Wait, what's going on? I'm still not thinking ghosts. I'm just thinking, what's up? Something's not right. They're
Yeah.
keeping something from me. Like, what's up? And my aunt's like, come on, just let me, because my cousin's around 18, 19 years old, so she's kind of like doesn't care. She rebels. She let me just tell him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Just tell me what's going on. She's like, well, a long time ago, we had a neighbor, and she helped our grandma raise the kids because she never had kids of her own. And this old lady would come into the house, and she'd walk through all the rooms, and make sure everybody's tucked in at night. But then she died, and she still comes at night, and she tucks us all in when we go to sleep. So what you're hearing is her sandals are sliding on the ground. She's old. She's walking around the house. If you could, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm getting goosebumps just telling you the story, man. And
I can
I
barely
was like,
tell, but
"What?"
shit.
I was like, "What?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Yeah, she's a nice girl. She just, tucks you in." I'm like, I don't want nobody tucking me in, man. After that night,
Is it?
like 7 p.m., dude, I was going to sleep, tucking myself in like a freaking marine, dude. I was like, pow, 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 pow. I was like a cocoon, dude, waiting to become a butterfly, man. Yeah, I was so freaking
Uh,
scared that she was gonna come in my room. Yeah, dude, I was going to sleep at daylight, man. Just to miss her, you know? So it worked. Freaking scared me straight. But I
that's
didn't see
fucking
her, I just heard
crazy.
her. Yeah, but those freaking, those feet dragging, that was scary, dude. After knowing the facts, it was playing in I said, I heard it. I heard her. I never seen her, never knew her, but I heard the woman.
So after they told you that it was her sandal dragging on the ground, the floor, did it sound like
Yeah.
sandals to you?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
shit.
Yeah. Just picture
That's
like an old
crazy.
lady with huaraches, sandals,
Yeah,
like dragging her feet on the ground. It's like sliding almost. I'm like, that was exactly
yeah.
what it was. And she's just walking around making sure everybody's tucked in. I'm like, nah, nobody's tucking me in. She might be nice, but I still want to mess with that. Especially when I don't know the lady.
Right,
She's just a neighbor that passed
right.
away. I heard she was nice, but
And it,
I'm cool. So yeah,
it
dude,
has to be
that's
tucking you, and then next place you know, they're filling you up.
you never know, dude. Hashtag me too. All right. The other one I got is I was about 17 and I was living in North Hollywood with my cousin Sergio. We had an apartment out there. And so we were dishwashers for a catering company. And we had the
There's
keys
an
to
echo.
the oh, is there? I don't hear
Yeah, I don't know
it.
why. Earlier it was good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it won't record it. Let me lower my. Is that better?
A little better, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't hear it on my side. I have echo cancellation, so hopefully it'll clean it up. So
Right on.
so we would take turns to give each other time off. Like let's say if you had to work, for example, I'd work your shift. That way you get to have a day off and go hang out with your girlfriend, your friends, whatever. So my cousin said, "Hey, you mind covering my shift?" Because work was slow during that time. So about 3 4 hours of work. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll cover you." He wanted to go out with his friends. So I go walk to the company, open it all up. It's a big warehouse, big, huge kitchen, and wash the dishes, degrease the ovens, you name it, we did it all. And so as I'm washing the dishes, I had the music, going on. Everything's cool. I'm just right there washing with it's like a gun. You're shooting, like pressurized water into the dishes. Like that movie Child's Play when Chucky runs in the back, part one,
Yeah,
exactly what happened. And I was like, what the heck? I turned around because I could have swore somebody ran behind me. And I turned around and I got like kind of froze, like scared, like, oh, what's up? I turned the water off and I grabbed the freaking butcher knife. Thinking some freaking homeless person must have broke in because there was a lot of druggies and homeless people around that area in North Hollywood. And I'm looking, dude, I'm wearing an apron because it kept the water off your clothing. Now I'm looking under the tables, everything, and I see nothing. But it spooked me enough, and I was so confident somebody ran behind me that I'm just looking around the whole building. And then I'm like checking outside the gates, make sure everything was closed. Because we will keep the doors open, just the gates closed. But if you jump over the gate, you could come in. After that, I was closing down the gates. They're kind of like those large garage doors, but steel ones. So I closed it
yeah.
all up and thought nothing of it. I go to work again another day, and sure enough, I see the image again. Now I'm like, nah, man, something's going on. And this, I'm so tired that I'm imagining it. And as the days are going, it's already been almost about a week and a half of me seeing this figure. That every time I turn around, the figure goes away. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to turn this time. So I could kind of focus on it. And I could see that the figure was a female, and she had short hair, light skin, and she was wearing an apron. And I forgot, I want to say the color was blue. And she kind of dressed like we did because we all wore aprons, but we had, I think they were black or gray that we used. And since I wasn't looking back, she was getting closer as the time went on to the point
Shit.
that she's like right here. And I could kind of, and I'm looking through the corner of my eye and I could see her right here. And I'm like, all right. So I'm singing, you know, that video Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden? When that
Yeah.
crazy smile, they're all smiling. That's how she had
Yeah.
a smile like that. It was like a scary big smile. Yeah. And I was like, oh man.
Black
So
hole
I
sun.
should, yeah. So sure enough,
I
I
just
turned
watched the video
around
the other day
and
with my
she,
daughter.
oh, yeah, it's a cool video. I turned around
Yeah.
and of course she was gone. And I was like, oh man. But I no longer was scared because I was already used to her, seeing her around. She never did nothing, never touched me, but she would just appear. So I said, you know what? I'm going to tell my cousin. So I said, hey, Sergio. He's like, what's up? And I kind of didn't want to tell him because I know how he is. He kind of gets spooked a lot more than I do. So yeah, even when he was younger, he'd have to sleep with the lights on because he'd get scared of the dark. So I say, hey, Sergio, what's up, man? He said, I wasn't sure about telling you, but I'll let you know that I've been seeing a ghost at work. He's like, what? Yeah, it's a woman. I'm telling him about the whole black hole sun smile and everything. He's like, oh no, man, you should have told me. He's all scared. So he had to go to work that day. He's like, hey man, come with me to work. I said, no, dude, you got it. I go, just she just didn't do nothing. She just appears. No, man, come on. Are you serious? I'll give you half my hours. I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'm going there after a while. I'm like, dude, you gotta face your fears, man. You know, after 2 days me going with him. And so he goes, he ain't see nothing. But about a week later, there's two workers, Hugo and Eric Herante. They used to work with us. One's from Guatemala, one's from Honduras. They were prep cooks. And they're talking about a female ghost. And Sergio's like, oh, wait a minute. You know, Chell was just talking to me about this. So Sergio gets closer to listen, and they're talking about a story in the old Rick Braden Catering Company. It moved. This was the second spot they were at. And they said that catering company was haunted. And there used to be a female ghost that was nice, but she would just walk around like the catering business. And they were familiar with her. And he's like, my cousin's listening. He's like, oh shit, it sounds very familiar to what I was telling you. And he says, how does she look? But he doesn't want to tell them. And I haven't talked to them. I just told Sergio because he's kind of like wants to see if it's the same. He goes, oh, well, she has short hair. And they're describing the woman that I saw. And she goes, she wears the old aprons. We used to wear color blue. And he's like, oh man, now he knew for sure. I'm getting goosebumps telling you again. I don't know if you can
Oh
see. Yeah,
shit.
I'm getting goosebumps, man. And he's describing what I told him. He calls me, dude, it's real. I said, what? Yeah, man, she followed us from the other company when we moved. I'm like, I told you, I wasn't making that up. She goes, oh, yeah. And yeah, I talked to them and they told me the same and never saw her after that. Once it was kind of out in the open like that, like I said, she never did nothing crazy or hurt anybody or other than just kind of sneak up on you kind of thing, you know? But those were those two. The other one I have is with Rory. And I think you remember Rory, right? He was a Raider fan too. He had a black Chevette. I know you've been
I
around
think
him in
so.
Downey. So we watched the Raider game together. You came to my apartment. He was there. He liked drinking those
Yeah,
King Cobra.
I remember meeting a Rory. I just don't remember what he looked like.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. When we were younger, maybe around 16 or so, 15, 16, we talk about it because he liked he always wanted to do like get a book and do like a seance and the Ouija board and candles and witchcraft. Never did it, but he wanted somebody to do it with. So come on, man, let's go to the cemetery and do this. Like, nah, dude, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. Come on, man, it'll be fun. I go, nah, and I was always against it. So we started talking about, you know, life after death. And he's like, hey, let's make a pact. I'm like, what's up? He goes, whoever dies first sends a message to the other one so that we know if there's something. And I was thinking, man, it sounded like a great idea. You know, it's like if I die, I'll tell him, hey, you know, it's real. You know, I'm here, I'm there, wherever. just relay a message. And he was telling me, yeah, I'm going to hunt your ass. I'm going to do this. And we're laughing about it because we're telling each other we're going to do it. Messing around, just talking smack. And, thought nothing of it. We never mentioned it again. And yeah, 20 years later, that's when he committed suicide. And it was kind of like, wow. So I was already here in Texas when this happened. And whatchamacallit, I get the call, they tell me, and I'm just like, shit. And he was depressed because of his father dying. I think he had a stroke, then cancer took him. And one day he just started drinking. And with the depression, then you add alcohol to the mix, you say he wanted to be with his father, and he took his own life. So his kids walked in to the house after he had shot his brains out. So they saw the body and everything all over the wall. So his two older kids, from what I heard, received counseling because they had to deal with that for a long time. The other kids were too small, I think, to remember. So maybe a week and a half later. Now I've lived in this house for 21 years already, and nothing's ever happened. He passes away, doors are like slamming shut, things are
Oh
falling, like
shit.
right, boom, just falling, like if somebody knocked it over. Nothing breaking, but falling to the ground, just turning on. Footsteps in my bedroom when I'm downstairs watching TV. It's like, what the hell are the kids doing? Kids stop running. There's nobody in my room. No, I said, maybe we just heard a sound echoed. So I'm trying to make any excuse, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, shit, Rory. I said, what are the chances out of nowhere? So now I'm keeping it quiet. I don't want my wife to know. So I'm keeping it quiet. And I'm not telling her what I'm hearing or seeing. And we're watching TV one day, and the laundry room is downstairs, close to the garage, and a loud noise of something falling. We both like, oh shit. And then my wife looks at me. She says, hey. I said, yeah, what's up? She's like, ever since your friend died, there's a lot of stuff happening in the house. I'm like, quiet, thinking, shit. She's noticing it.
Oh
She's
shit.
like,
That
yeah.
means that's fucking a lot of
She says,
activity.
yeah. So when I'm not home, things are still happening. And I was just quiet listening to her because I'm thinking, I didn't know she was something she was noticing as well. I'm trying to kind of keep it quiet, and I don't want to spook her out. So I stay quiet. And she said, you need to talk to your friend. And she knew right away that it was Rory. And she doesn't know him the way I knew him. So I said, all right. So when I went to bed that night, I went upstairs, and I just talked to him like if I did somebody in front of me. I just say, hey, Rory, hey, I don't mind you messing with me, just trying to scare me or doing this and that. Just don't involve my family because you're scaring them. I said, just do it to me and it's cool. You're my friend. And I kind of like it because it makes me feel you're here. He never visited me here in Texas. So it was a warm welcome to me. And because not just that, but he would appear in my car when I'm driving to work. I could see him like if he's sitting in the back seat, and then I look, and of course he's not there, but I see him with his
But you
Raiders
see his
hat,
image?
his yeah, like
What?
if he's there. Now, not as perfect as you, but like the resemblance of it. Like that's
Yeah.
him, and he's sitting right there. And it's like, so sometimes I want to look back because I know he'd go away, so I'll just have a little chat. He never answered, nothing like that, but it's just like he's there watching me as I'm going to work, just kind of enjoying the ride to work. It's a short ride. I live close to work, about an 8-minute drive. But after I had that talk with him, he appeared just one time in the car, and that's it. He hasn't been back since. But yeah, that was the Rory story. So those are the three
The
ones that
Rory
I
story.
remember right now. Yeah. What about you? You got anything spooky or anything that's happened to you that you want
Well,
to talk
I'm
about?
very bad at telling. Yeah, I'm very bad at telling stories. So I'll start all over the place.
It's fine.
It's like people always tell me, man, you're funny as hell. You should be a comedian. And I said, man, I can't tell jokes for shit. I'm just like on the spot. But my earliest experiences, man, I must have been, I don't know, 4, maybe 5, maybe 3. I don't remember. But do you remember back in the days, they used to have those little record players? They were in a box, right? You just plug it in, and fucking they play like the little 45s or whatever. I remember I had
Yeah.
one, and I was living at my grandma's house. I don't remember if I was going to preschool or anything because I lived at my grandma's house in the early part of my years. So of course with my dad and my grandma and my grandpa because I don't think at the time my parents were together anymore. Um, so I'm in there listening to whatever music I'm listening to.
Yeah, I'm listening.
You hear me? Oh, okay.
Can you hear
It's
me?
saying reconnecting. Yeah, it's saying it's reconnecting. So I didn't
Yeah.
want
Yo.
to tell the story and miss the damn shit. Okay, so I'll start. There you go.
Yeah, no, I
Listen.
hear you. You're good.
All right, cool. So I'm in there sitting there in the little room by myself, and it must have been raining because I remember seeing like a flash of light. So it must have been lightning, right? And there was a little window off to the side, and I could see when the flash came on through the curtains. I saw someone's face, right? It looked like somebody pale. I don't know if it was a skull, but it was just like I saw a pale face, and it scared me. I said, "Damn, there's someone at the window or something, right?" And he comes running. He goes, "What happened?" I said, there was somebody outside the window." So he runs outside, and he don't see shit. He don't see nobody, right? And mind you, at the time, my dad he was young and he was, gang banging. It wasn't nothing strange that, just maybe have some random idiot fucking just, how it is.
Mhm. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
um, so that was my first ever, like incident.
Experience.
After my first experience, yeah, and I never really had any like experiences where I would see a ghost or crazy shit happen. At least I don't remember right now if it has happened. But when it came to the Ouija board, man, the shit was crazy. Because I had a friend, Victor,
Now you were playing that?
and
Okay, but you weren't doing it, just your friend?
no, all
Or
of
were you
us. So
doing it the Ouija board as
so
well? Okay.
yeah, so I bought the Ouija board. It was like a Hasbro Ouija board. At the time I'm like, all
Yeah.
into, you know, metal and dressing black and partying, like with drugs and shit, and just being in my early 20s, going to shows and just fucking being a maniac. You know what I mean? And so I buy this Ouija board and shit, and it never really works for me. Parker Bros. Ouija board never really works for me. And one day
Huh.
I was living with Carlos for the apartments on Stewart and Gray. I know David mentioned
Carlos that I know?
mentioned
Or another Carlos?
yeah, the Carlos,
Okay. Uh-huh.
and it was me, Carlos, my friend Victor, my friend Nick, and I think David. I'm not sure. Maybe not, but I know he was saying something about the Ouija board, so that's where my brain gets a little twisted. Like, nah, I can't. If David was here, he'd probably have a better memory and tell me he wasn't there for this one. He was probably there for another one. So I don't remember if David
Well,
was there
he's
or not.
mentioned the
But I
Ouija
know
board,
for
but never told me the story. So he might have been there.
yeah, yeah, because I remember he mentioned the Ouija board,
Yeah.
and then I was thinking,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
shit, was he there or was he not there? But yeah, he was probably there because we're always hanging out together. Me, Carlos, and David, and then Nick and Victor are there, so we're probably partying. But when we started playing the Ouija board, and my grandfather had passed away. I don't know, maybe a year, less than a year. And the crazy part is that when I was in the Navy, I was about to hit my first port ever, Halifax, Nova Scotia. This was like in '99 or something like that. I was all excited, and out of nowhere, like I think 2 days before we hit port, I get a call or my chief hits me up and say, "Hey, Mo," he's like, "Your dad's on the phone." So I go get on the phone. And he's like, "Hey, son, I just want to let you know that your grandpa's in the hospital. He's been kind of in and out like for a couple of weeks, and uh, I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want to get you worse since you were out there, but it's not looking like he's gonna make it." And I was like, "Fuck!" So I told my chief, and he did their best to try to get me uh, uh out to fucking back to LA. We're just fucking North Atlantic, way up there and shit, on the eastern side. It sucked because I'm there waiting and waiting, waiting for them to, send me off like the next day. And then my chief happened to go by. He's like, He's like, "You're still here?" I'm like, "Yeah, they haven't called me because I guess since I'm
Yeah.
just an E1 or an E2, I don't have priority, right? So it's just like, fuck you. That's just the way the military is." So they were sending other dudes out, and then my chief's like, "What the fuck?" So he went and he fucking spoke to somebody. Next thing you know, I'm on the next flight out, and it was pretty cool because we're out to sea, and I forget the name of the planes, but they're mostly the cargo passenger planes, and they got propellers. They're not jets. So we all pack up in there, and we're all facing the tail. It tells, "All right, put your seatbelts on, you know, cross your arms. When it goes down, it takes off. We're gonna fucking, we're gonna feel it, right?" So we're literally
Huh.
on the aircraft
Yeah.
carrier, and let me see. So here's the aircraft carrier. There's the ocean, right? So we're here. We're getting catapulted off that with that fucking thick ass cable,
You know.
and they were just fucking
Yeah.
revving up the engine. Propeller's going, it's getting louder, louder, louder. All right, three, two, one. Boom! That shit fucking shoots us off. And we're all going like this, like going forward to the forces. And the plane you could feel it
Yeah.
go like, woo! It went down and it went down and then it kind of shot up. Because I had seen them. So I'd seen a few of the planes go first. They dip and then they go up. And it's like, holy shit.
Uh-huh.
Not like the
Feels like
jets
they're
where
gonna
they just
fall.
fucking, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's scary.
so that that was pretty fucking cool. Uh, well, I finally get to Virginia, and I missed my flight, and I was pissed because that not only was all that going on, I missed my flight, but I was also stranded in Virginia, and Ozfest was happening in Virginia, and I didn't have money or a way to go to the show. And I was like, "Fuck, I'm getting double." It would have been badass to
Yeah.
be at an Ozfest in
Waiting.
Virginia, right? While I'm waiting for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
next day to take off. And yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
happen,
That
man.
was
Because the military, you know, you gotta be badass. The military, you don't get paid shit. They figure, hey,
yeah.
you got somewhere to sleep. You don't need rent money. We can feed you here. You need money. So they just kind of give you minimum wage or less.
Minimum,
Um,
yeah.
so the next day, uh, take off from Virginia and get to LA, get picked up. And when I got to the hospital, like all my family was there, was crying and shit, and I didn't make it in time for him to be conscious and for him to tell me bye or anything. And so I finally get there to my grandpa, and I'm like, "Hi, grandpa," and I'm around him. I was like, "I love you, sweet Frankie. I made it. I made it." And he wasn't responding, but I could kind of see like his eyes were kind of like moving a little bit, and then like I kind of see that like I got a little bit of watery, right? And
Yeah.
to me, that told me that he knew I was there, that he waited.
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah. Like an answer.
minutes were, yeah, like I felt that he waited for me, and
Yeah.
then, time was going by, and, kept looking over at the monitor and just thinking like, I think he's gone already. Cause I guess the machines were helping him keep him alive, right? Breathing
Mhm.
for him and shit.
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
but I did feel like he waited for me. Um, and I had to be the one to tell my dad, like, "Hey, dad, I think he's gone, man." Like it sucked having to
Yeah.
do it, but I don't
Yeah.
think anybody could do it.
No.
And I, I was able to do it, not because I wanted to, but because I felt like he was just waiting for me. Why keep him, or why just let the machine,
Yeah.
you know, keep his body
Yeah.
physically there, trying to move
It's
on,
like he's
trying to let him
he's
get
sustained
over
himself
something like
enough to
that.
give you time to see him.
Yeah, at least I that's what I like to believe. You know what I mean? So I didn't get a chance to say goodbye and have him hug me and all these things or whatever, And it had me for a long time. It had me very angry when I went back to the military. Started fucking around, not giving a fuck. It was not in a good place. That's eventually how I ended up getting caught up and getting in trouble in the military, and it just changed everything uh, about the way I carried on the rest of my career there, which is which ended up being short. So I'm out of the military after, I think so. This happened 99. So then I was back in, yeah. So in less than 2 years, I'm a civilian again. And so, yeah, so we're over there playing the Ouija board, and it's never worked for me. I think my friend Victor has some kind of sensitivity, or he can channel. And I think my friend Nick had the same um, kind of
Are those
sensitivity or
either
something.
one of those the ones that had the Volkswagen, the Beetle? Is that Victor or no?
Mm,
That Nick?
no, no,
No.
no. Nick,
Okay,
I don't
that
think
wasn't
Nick
him,
had
right?
a
Remember?
car.
Okay,
Victor had
I
the
was just
Datsun. He had
picturing.
like, but I think I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Was that his name was
Okay.
Chris? I think.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Chris. Yeah, he was a cool guy too.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah, he was
picturing
cool.
him.
I hung
That's
out
what
with
when you
him
said him.
very short.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
I hung out with him for a very short amount of time. Didn't really know him that well, but he
Okay.
was cool and he had a car and he wanted to party. So all right,
Okay. Yeah, it worked.
yeah, he wanted to hang out, go meet chicks, and go to clubs and shit like that. I guess he really didn't do much of that, but wanted to. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm like, I'm not a good influence, but fuck it. I mean, a good thing he
So,
never got into any of the bullshit. Yeah.
so the
So,
other friend, huh?
oh yes. So Vic and Nick, and like I said, I don't remember if David was there. I don't even remember if Carlos was there. He might have been there. I don't remember. I just remember we're all in the living room playing the Ouija board, and around that time, I would, dance around the Ouija board, put a cross on there, and fucking put on the doors, or be on, shrooms or acid, or just trying to act, just being a fool. And
Yeah.
it never
Yeah.
really worked. Never seemed to work. But this particular time with them two there, it was weird. Out of nowhere, like it started to move, right? And I remember my friend Victor, he was the one that was like, "Yeah, you gotta open it. Yeah, gotta call for the Ouija, and then when you're done, you gotta make sure you close it." I was like, "All right, sure, easy, no big deal." But that was something that I always remembered, especially after it worked the first time. I learned to respect it and make sure put it away when we're done. So anyway, so we're and it just starts to move. The plant just starts to move, kind of like it's like, oh shit, and then we all started to get this like feeling like something was there, but very calming and peaceful. Right. It was like a beautiful feeling. And then all of a sudden, I don't remember what I said to it, but I remember it said, was like, Grandpa, is that you? And then he goes, say yes. And I'm like, what? I said, hi, Grandpa, I miss you. I love you. And then he put, what did he say? He put like, okay. He said like, okay, or something. I mean, shit, this is fucking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the little messages he wrote. They were just short messages. I think it was like uh, hi, see. I don't remember if he said love you or whatever, but I said I miss you, and I said I miss you, and then he put the sun. Right, went to the sun, and then shortly after, it kind of just went off, and just kind of like that was it. And the crazy thing was, my friend Nick, he was in tears. I was in tears. And my friend Victor, I don't remember if he wasn't in tears because he's a little more serious. I would
Yeah.
never say serious, but a little more like his feelings are very kept in, even though he's a
Yeah. Yeah.
super nice guy. It would be rare to see him fucking cry. So yeah, so that was that. And that was like, that told me right there, this shit is real. Like there's another side of it. Everything
Yeah.
I did from then on, I did with caution. I continued to play the Ouija board because would tell people the story, and I would tell them, "Hey, this shit fucking works," and they'd be like, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, "Okay." So we'd have people go over to the house, to Carlos's apartment. We'd be up all night, and I'd tell them, "All right, I'm gonna show you guys this shit work." And for whatever reason, after I was able to use it that time, I was able to channel it by myself for a bit. Like I was able to play on my own,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah.
I guess my sensitivity or my senses or whatever, my third eye open. I don't know, but I was able to do that from now on. And yeah, man, I'd have people come over and say, "Hey, ask it a question that I don't know anything about. I don't know the answer to." and I see what happens because I know you're not gonna fake the answer, and I don't know the
No,
answer.
yeah.
So we do it, and then it would fucking work. It would tell people like, oh, where they were born, or they would talk to their mom or whatever, certain things or names, and they'd be like, "Fuck, that shit's crazy." I'm like, "See, I told you." And so of course I shut it off, and right around that time I started getting to numerology. Um, uh, so this is. Let me see. I think I'm skipping a part with the whole Ouija board shit. No, I don't know. I'll probably end up getting back to it anyway. Um, so me being a big Ozzy fan, dressing all in black and Black Sabbath and metal and goth and all this crazy shit. Well, for whatever reason, this is around the time where the Osbournes were like really popular and Ozfest is going
Yeah.
on, and you know, it's just a great time. I'm working at a music store at the mall, living at the apartment with Carlos, no kids and shit like that. And it's just a fun time, and going to see bands play or whatever, and and so I'm working at the music store, and for whatever reason, uh, I started. I remember seeing like a something about Ozzy came up, and he was born December 3rd, 1948, and I'm born June 3rd, 1978. And the crazy thing was when I finally realized, I was like, and I was like, oh shit, we're exactly 30 years and 6 months apart. And it was weird because at that moment, like I felt this like weird kind of energy, like just something just like hit me, like right,
Hmm.
which I think I was kind of on the path to try to, my brain was opening maybe because of all the shit I was doing, and then the Ouija board. So like I'm at the hot peak of where like all this heightenedness, right? So
Yeah.
I started getting into numerology. I bought a book. I started doing um, like it's numerology is crazy. It's like
I don't know anything about it, numerology. I've
so
heard of it,
it's
but I don't know
so
it. I'm
it's
not
like
familiar with it.
yeah, it's like the zodiac sign, right? The like astrology, but it's way more accurate. And it goes based on numbers. In the books I was reading, every single thing about you is saying it's not a coincidence. It's all meant to be. So the vowels, consonants, they all have a number value. Um, so for instance, the letter the letter A is 1, the letter B is 2, the letter 3 is C, the letter D is 4 or whatever, right? And there's Chaldean, there's Kabbalic, Pythagorean, different kinds of numerology. I used to do these triangles, right? And it was crazy because I was living in Seattle to like, uh, like, when I meet chicks, like, oh, here, let me do your numerology. Oh, it's
Yeah.
this because they all trip on your name. So there's two things. So there's your name, and then there's your birthday, which would show your life path. So whatever your birthday it is, you add all those numbers up and to a single digit. So like say what we're October 20th or 21st,
First. Hmm.
2025. So October would be 1. So it'd be 1 plus 0 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5. And whatever that is, let's say it's 13. Then it'd be 1 plus
Yeah.
3, which makes it 4. So then 4 would be your number path. So there's 9 number paths from 1 to 9. And all of those traits within those numbers, they will tell you your life path. Mine, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was a 7. And it had to do with spirituality. And it's weird because I was all into all that spirituality. Threes are very like artistic and entertaining. So a lot of the shit I was realizing that it's true that all those numbers, all those traits really pertain to those people. Even like numbers like if you're born on the 11th, it's a master number. If you're born on the 22nd, it's another master number. Um, there's so much to talk about. Anyway,
Hmm.
so like
Yeah.
so when you would do your name, Chell, right? Chel. Let's just do it with Chell. So the C would be a 3. H, I forget what it is. E would be 4. O, whatever, forget it is. But you have the C and an H are consonants. They would be on the outside of the triangle. Yeah, the E and the O, those are vowels. They would be on the other side of the triangle. And then those two numbers added up would be the sensor number. So it would say your expression is whatever the vowel the consonant's value came up to, and then the how you really feel would be, or like your inner expression would be what what the vowels added up to. Both of those blended into one would be kind of like your personality, and that was just with names,
Yeah.
which is very fucking interesting because when I was doing that shit, I was working on like I put God and Allah both mean the same.
Oh,
Dog meant
uh-huh.
loyalty. Um, I have a folder somewhere of all that shit.
Yeah.
All these different
How it
letters. I
all
was just
makes
like
sense. The
experimenting with,
names.
and I was breaking them down each one, and they would all give me
Yeah.
their values of what they meant, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like it's not a coincidence that how is it that like God, I mean, dog would be mean like loyalty. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what's based
Yeah.
on numbers?
Man's best
Based
friend.
on numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and God and Allah being exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty wild.
oh, I remember. Yeah. So, then when I got to Seattle, right? When I got to Seattle, that's when I started getting more and more into it. Got a book. I was on drugs. I was kind of up all night doing all this shit. But I would always see this number, 1134. That's why, like on my Instagram, my profile says 1134
Okay.
upside down. It spells hell
All right.
because I kept seeing that number. I kept
Yeah.
seeing it for a long time, and I would think to myself, like, "Why is it telling me this?" So that I don't remember if that's how I got further into numerology, but I know my first experience with numerology where I felt kind of weird, where I realized something about numbers was with my numbers and Ozzy's numbers kind of being very close. Um, but I would see 1134 a lot, and I don't remember if it was before or after I left to Seattle. I left to Seattle back in 2004. I wasn't doing too good. I was hanging out with people that were just fucking like me, who like to go see metal shows, or one dude I met there, excuse me, some other guys say, "Hey, you're cool. Whatever you want to go work." I'm like, "Sure, where you go work at?" Seattle. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm down with that. I don't have fucking kids, and I was already doing drugs and shit, and probably wearing out my welcome at my grandma's house. This was when I moved back with her like years later. Um, and yeah, so we smuggled drugs, right? And but I would see this 1134, and the people that I went up with up there with, we ended up having a falling out, and I ended up uh like, it's a fucking long story. Like I have
Yeah. No, it's
stories
cool.
about like,
Uh-huh.
all right, so let me not get all over the place. So I'll go back to the numerology shit.
Okay. You're fine. You're
Um,
fine.
all right, so the 1134 shit. So I'm trying to figure out, why do I see 1134? What does it mean? On one end, it could be angelic. On the other end, it could be telling me, hey, like you're going to hell with all the shit you're fucking doing, or everything you've done, or whatever. Like that's your path. You're going
Yeah.
to hell. But 11 is a master number, and 34, 3 and 4 equals 7, right? So then you have 7, you get 1 and 1 is 9, which 9 is the Sigma number. Or well, I could be wrong, but I did read a book all about the number 9. The most boringest book anybody will ever fucking read. It's just all about the number 9. It's like
Yeah.
fucking 100
Damn.
some page all about the number 9 and fucking its origins and all this and that. I read it and I'll never read it
Uh-huh.
again. I don't recommend it. But I was that deep into it, right? This is when I came back. Um, so I ended up being taken in by a family. Let me back up. So I'm with these dudes. Shit, we're at this house in Seattle. They end up fucking over the people that we were there to do business with, and I didn't like that. So I kind of like fucking was like, no, you guys ain't right. And they started now steal shit from the lady and this and that, and she's waiting to, hey, when are you gonna set up shop so I can get my cut? It doesn't work out. Anyway, she kicks them out. They not that's still didn't kick them out. They pretty much just takes the shit and fucking leave back to Los Angeles, and they leave me behind. Can you hear me?
Damn. Yeah, I could hear you.
All right, cool. So
I'm good. I
they
could
leave
hear
me
you.
behind. Mind you, all right, cool. mind you, I never told my parents. I never told my grandma or anybody where I was going. I just parked my car in the driveway, and I disappeared for weeks. I didn't call anybody. I didn't really think that people cared for me that much. I was just so fucking focused on just be me and like, I'll be all right, all right. It wasn't a party to fucking tell them like the very first day or the second day, like, hey, I'm up in Seattle or whatever. None of that shit. Now as a parent, I feel so bad because I'm thinking, fuck, I must have put them through hell. They could only I'm imagining they were thinking the worst, right?
Yeah.
So
Not knowing what happened.
yeah, all I knew is that my car was there, so I should be okay. Unless maybe I'm just out doing one of my drinking binges with my buddies. 'Cause, I'm always leaving the house and shit. So, but after a few weeks, it's kind of like, okay, where are you? When are you going back? So shit went downhill with those people. Anyways, where I got my cape, I don't have like it's like I'm wearing it, but I have this badass fucking real uh vampire cape. It's heavy, it's
Uh,
thick, it's got red velvet on the inside. I'm gonna show it one of these days, probably on the next one.
all right.
But it was
Uh,
custom made. The couple that I was with, they appreciated me sticking up for them and helping them clean their house and all this and that. That they gifted that to me. They had some guy who makes custom like dog houses and stuff out of like whatever the soft material is and fleece and
Plywood?
shit. And it's really
Oh, I see.
plywood.
Okay. Uh-huh.
No, no, like like uh like
I
cloth,
thought you
right?
said
Like fabric.
doghouse. Okay.
It's like out of
That's what I was like,
fabric
all
for
right.
small dogs.
Okay. Oh,
So
I
he
see.
made me a cake, man, and that shit was badass. And that transformed me into legit fucking vampire from that day on. And so anyways, so they end up splitting, going to move to Portland, and I went down with them to go help or whatever. The husband, he was a weirdo. I didn't really like him too much. I didn't really trust him. He was a fucking weirdo. But anyways, he took me down to his parents' house in Portland, right? And we're hanging there because we're gonna go from Portland to his brother's house in southern Washington, right on the border, right at the Columbia River. I might as well just tell the fucking story. So during that time up there, man, and uh before when those guys left, when I knew that I had gotten left behind with no money,
Mhm.
right?
Damn.
I broke down, bro. I fucking was like I I was crying for God, man, like with all my might, just like please help me, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? I'm not saying what the fuck, but
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
broken. I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was worried. So so after that, my option was to go live with those people out like in Portland or somewhere out there, which I didn't really want to, honestly, because they were gonna sell the house and move out there because they have family
Yeah.
out there. I go down to Portland, see a little bit, have some bomb ass food. That guy's grandparents, they're okay. The grandpa was super fucking cool. White people, right? Older white people. The dad was the sweetest man, and he smoked a lot of weed. So all he did is just smoke weed all day and having a good time, laugh a lot. Well, the next day, the brother's like, one of the days, the brother's like, all right, hey, or the guy's like, hey, let's go see my brother. They're gonna love it over there on the Columbia River. So we're driving from Portland back up to where the Columbia River is, and when we're there, and we're on the north side of the river, the Columbia River, and on to my right, because I'm sitting passenger, and we're going eastbound on the north side of the river. He's like, "Oh, you see all that down there? That's all Indian land. So you can see like you're telling me that's where all the natives live. They live right there. So they're like in motorhomes, and they fish. They just they're so they get their a lot of their food from. It's really really rural, right? Like
Yeah.
all you see is nothing but trees, river, just some RVs along the side, and then you finally get to the town. and everybody there that lives in town, most of the guys are part of the fire department. They work at the fish hatchery. Well, we finally get to his brother's house, and it's a fucking super nice house. Like you could walk down to the river. The Columbia River was it was magical, bro. Seeing it. So we're driving, and I'm just like looking out, just staring, and all of a sudden, man, it came to me. I had seen this place in a fucking dream before. I remember seeing, like, being on a road and seeing this fucking big ass river, and I got teary eyed because like, fuck, I've been here. I'm starting to feel some kind of comfort. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
We finally get to the brother's house, and he's got two sons. They're younger than me, but they're adults. And I think one's in high school and one just graduated or something. Super cool kids, man. And I'm in my mid 20s or early 20s. I don't quite remember 2004, so what, 26 or something like that. Um, so they're like, hey, so we finally get there and it's raining and their backyard got this big ass barns to the left. They got a big ass fucking field in the mountains. So their backyard is literally the fucking forest. And while I'm there and it's raining, um, the fucking the clouds start to part and and the fucking sun just starts to shine right bright on me, dude. Like I felt like it was God saying, "Don't worry, I got you." For me, that
Yeah.
was a fucking spiritual moment. That was where, I mean, it was raining, and then the clouds just parted. The sun comes down, it's beaming right on, like on me, and it was just so fucking incredible. And at that moment, I knew I was gonna be okay. And it was cool. Like, we ended up going up to Mount Rainier. We were in the trucks. We went to go shoot some fucking. We had some beers. We were shooting cats. We just throw them right there. You had a double barrel shotgun, sawed off. So they're all shooting it, and everybody got 1 out of 2, and I was the only one that was 2 for 2. And they're like, "Fuck, you're really good." I got lucky, I guess. And then we noticed that the tire was getting low. So the dude's brother was like, I forget his name, but he reminded me of James Hetfield from Metallica. Uh, he's completely opposite of his brother, the guy that I was hanging out with. Like, and this guy was way cooler. Their house, dude, was fucking badass. One
Nice.
side of their house, where the living room is, was all glass, so you could see the wildlife.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had the
Beautiful.
stream like right along.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. I wish I could
Yeah.
find out where it was and go back because I've been back up there, uh,
Yeah.
by the Columbia River, but on the Oregon side where Multnomah Falls are and the Bridge of the Gods. So I had a little sightseeing tour. We went to Multnomah Falls, like all that. So I was there for like 2 days. It was an amazing time. Like it was
Yeah.
fucking awesome. Except for all that bad shit before.
Yeah.
So then we go back up to Seattle, right? To go get situated, and this guy Shane, he's actually one of the local dudes that comes around with parties or whatever. And we're talking about that I was probably gonna go with them, or they're gonna maybe give me some money once they sell the house, I can get home, whatever. And then the guy Shane's like, "Well, you could probably stay at my house." And I was like, "You
The
sure?" He's
nice
like,
house.
They're good. Yeah, some other guy's house. This guy Shane up
Oh,
in
okay.
Seattle, like
All right. Oh, okay.
it's Snohomish County, which is like half hour east of Seattle.
Okay.
He's like, "Yeah, well, you could probably stay at my house." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, my parents are cool." And I was like, "I don't know." I'm like, "I'm just fucking Mexican. I'm the only Mexican there, right?" I'm like, "I just a Mexican dude from LA. I did long hair or whatever." And even though Shane is, white dude, long hair, does drugs like me, I I mean, that's just kind of strange. Like, your
You
son's
feel
doing
out of
drugs, you need to
place.
bring his friend over that does drugs too, right? Like, I just didn't see it happening. Well, I go and I get to the house and I meet his parents, and they're like just the sweetest, nicest people. They're like, it, I didn't feel judged at all, and whatever. And it took time, but I gained their trust. And to this day, we still keep in touch. Not often, but I still
Yeah.
talk to the
Here and
sons.
there.
I visited them before. I love them. They're like my extended family. I did a lot of work for them when I was up there because their sons weren't really fucking, helping out around the house. And I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But anyway, their house was fucking badass. It was an old school house, had a big ass backyard with the river in the back. And I mean, here's this kid from fucking LA who's used to the city, and I'm living in the country with
Yeah.
these
Forest.
strangers. I'm a stranger. Yeah, forest, right? The dad converted like or built like a little like I guess a little bachelor pad for his youngest son, so he could like just hang out there. But dude, there was parties all the time, man. So we had like these hotties would come over, and then some of the fellows that lived there, and none of them have ever fucking met a Mexican dude from LA. So we're all having a great time and shit. I was there for almost a year, man. But
Wow.
I would, yeah, and I would tell them about 1134, and they're kind of just like, oh
Uh-huh.
yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So one day me and Shane were so I was sleeping on the top floor, with the little balcony, right? It was Shane's room, but he was hardly ever there because he was always at a ladies, I think, or something. So I was staying in that room, and then one day he was staying there too, and then so we're outside, fucking smoking cigarettes or whatever, and then I don't know how we get to talking about time, but oh, so before that, because I had told him about the family knew about me and the number 1134, and they just kind of laughed it off. So one day we were watching TV, or that day we started watching TV, and it was like some detective show or whatever. So in the detective show, they're showing the security camera with the footage, right? The fucking timestamp says 1134. And I go, see, look, 1134. And they're looking like, oh shit, you're not fucking lying. I go, man, I
Uh-huh.
see that number everywhere. And then so later on that night, me and Shane are fucking talking about it. And I tell him, I think, yeah, bro, that is fucking number 1134. I'm seeing it everywhere, man. It's driving me fucking crazy. I said, but I feel like I can get these messages or something like, that's gonna fucking something's gonna happen or whatever. And I was like, this is all true. I'm telling you, swear to God.
Yeah, I believe you.
So we're hanging out, and I just this is nighttime. I don't know, it's probably like 1 in the morning or something. And I point up and I go, you see over there? Exactly that spot in 1 minute, there's gonna be a shooting star. So we're like, all right, cool. And I'm thinking to myself, well, let's see if it really happens, right? Because if not, then you're just full of shit. And I swear to God, bro, within a minute, shooting star. And then my friend goes, he looks at me, he goes, oh shit. And he starts to, he got goosebumps. And I could tell, like, now he was thinking, like, oh, fuck. So, something's wrong with you, right? I don't know if he's
Yeah.
telling you
Yeah.
with all the drug use or whatever, right? You're just like, oh shit, like, that's fucking crazy. And I told him, the other thing too, I feel like 2025, like 2025, it's like it's a number that's important. I don't know if it's like we're gonna see the aliens or something, but 2025 is a very important number. And I waited since 2004 to see what 2025 has in store. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with aliens. The year's not almost over. We had that comet or whatever's up here. There was a
Oh yeah.
lot of fucking
IA.
drone activity going on. Remember all that drone activity in the
Yeah.
begin
Yeah.
or the
Mhm.
beginning of last year, and that fucking
Uh, the
that
balloons
toxic
too,
snow and
supposedly.
all that crap.
Yeah.
Supposedly, remember the toxic snow and all these dead birds all over the fucking place. Like all this crazy shit was happening. I'm over here thinking, fuck, eh, is this what they're fucking trying to tell me? Right? And then, but also, my connection with numbers and Ozzy, and then Ozzy died in 2025, right? So I don't know what's the relevance or what's the connection with 2025, but there's Ozzy's death, there's those fucking thrones and the 3A Atlas, and I don't know. The year's not over. Something crazy could
Yeah.
happen. Where we're at now, I don't really expect it too much, but I didn't see 1134 for a long time. I'm starting to see it again. But the crazy thing
No, I'm
was,
gonna start noticing it too because of you.
right? Guess
I'm
what they
gonna
say,
start
right?
looking
They say
everywhere.
when you focus on a number,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
there's a crazy thing
You
because I
find
would
it
I would tell
everywhere.
people this. Yeah, like you don't see Volkswagen until you buy one and shit like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so a few years ago, I went camping with my family and some friends, and my one of my friends that went with us from work out. I was telling him about the 1134 shit. He just kind of laughing it off like everybody. All right, cool, you know. And then he sends me a fucking an Instagram, and it's a video of this dude talking about him seeing 1134 all the time. She was like, "What?" But
Damn.
this guy's story was, yeah, this guy's story was he was cursing God. I don't remember if it was like he lost a brother or something, but he was really pissed off at God and wanted to fucking find out if it was real or not. So this fucker ended up having like a nightmare where they took his ass to hell. He's like, it was so real. It's like after that, he's like, I fucking never questioned it again. God exists, and I guess I mean, he might be
Yeah.
Christian now or something. I don't know,
Mhm.
but I was thinking, man, I I don't curse God and do anything. Like, why am I seeing that number?
Yeah.
There was time where I played. There was one time where I played the Ouija board. It was like a bunch had a bunch of people over, and I was like, I was interested about like my past life. I was like, hey, what was that in my past life? And it said a watcher, but I didn't know what a fucking watcher was, right? I didn't even realize what a watcher was. So maybe like a few years later, is related to the Bible. I don't think that I'm connected to that at all. As far as what they say with the job of watcher, I don't think I'm a watcher, but it says that's what it was in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Um,
Maybe you were a peeping
what
Tom.
other? Maybe it was a PP towel, right? Beep beep beep. Okay, Al Bundy. with fucking Peggy's all mad because she's not getting peeped. Yeah,
So
that's just funny, man.
we were talking about that kind of earlier, but when I had told you about me with the bed, when I was texting you, do you remember today? That was today, right? That I told you that?
The bed?
Yeah, I showed you a picture on the. I had texted you earlier, but I'll just tell you, I was in Downey. And I was living on I think it was Brookshire and Imperial Highway, and I don't know for some reason, I was sober. I wasn't drinking or nothing. And it was still bright daylight, and I was about to take a nap, and I was like, I don't know where I just said, I lie down on the bed, and I just started looking up at the ceiling of the room, and I started questioning God. And by questioning, I was meaning like, all right, God, if you're real, do something. Turn on the lights, or like pretty much kind of mocking him, like if he's a magician, like perform a trick for me, kind of thing. I'm like, show me something. I want to see proof. And I'm like, come on, show me something. Calling him out like I'm somebody special. And then all of a sudden, my whole body just goes paralyzed. And I felt like, what the heck? And I'm kind of like a computer, like saying, hey, I can't move my arms, my legs, nothing. And so
Oh
here's the
yeah, you
bed.
texted me that. Yeah,
Yeah. And my body
yeah, I
starts
remember now.
sinking into the bed. It's sinking into the bed. And I'm like, that's when the panic started. Paralyzed, I was just thinking, like, when your arm falls asleep or your leg or something. But this
Yeah.
was my whole body minus my head. The only thing I could move was my head, and I was kind of moving like this, and I could see my body sinking into the bed a lot. Not like a little bit, a lot. Like if something,
Oh
I'm
shit.
feeling a force push me into the bed. And I'm just kind of looking around, like pretty much, witnessing it, because I could move my head, look slightly up, to see my body, and I'm getting scared. Like I said, this probably lasted 10 seconds, if that. And all of a sudden, a release. And I feel like I could move, and I jumped off the bed, like scared. I just jumped up, standing up. Even though it was there, I still flicked the lights on, to have more light. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I started just apologizing to God. I won't do that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Until that day, I never questioned God before, because taught me a lesson, like kind of like put me in my place, like you don't question me, kind of thing. That's the way I took it. But it was enough to freaking scare me, dude. I never been scared like that in the daytime. Nighttime you get scared, you see something or whatever, something spooks you, but bright
Yeah.
daylight, no, that was the first time I ever felt anything like that. But from what you were saying, you're probably like the first person I've met that, you know, that I've had similar things with me too that I never got to share with you because you kind of did your thing in life and I did my thing. We kind of reconnect every now and then. We kind of
Yeah.
check in with each other. Then we disappeared for some time, and that's how we were since we met. If for
Yep.
some reason, it's like I always remember your phone number because I never wrote it down. It's not like I had it. I moved from Bakersfield or Lancaster or whatever, and then I just like, whose number is this? Then I called it. That's how I knew it was. Oh, it's Frankie. Let me write it down before I forget it. But what you call it? So this one time, I was in ninth grade. I was going to Bell High School, and I don't know if I told you the story or not, but I lived in the city of Bell, close to Florence, and what was that side street? I don't know, but it's in between Atlantic and Wilcox, and there's a Florence. There's some houses there in the community, and I was asleep. I lived in the garage in the back of my mom's house, and I fell asleep. I had a bad nightmare, and the nightmare was with my cousin Sergio. He's one of my closest cousins. In the dream, Sergio had came to my house or my garage, and he asked if he could borrow my Walkman because he had two cassettes, the Cure Wish album and DOS Effects back then. And I said, "Yeah, just
You want
don't break it,
effects.
whatever."
It's the DOS effect.
Yeah, exactly that one. And so they
Good
hung out for
album.
a few
Yeah.
hours. It was the Cure Wish one was badass too, though. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
that album or not. And
Yeah.
so they lived next door to each other in Cudahy on Live Oak and Wilcox. That's where I lived too. Eventually, before I lived there first, then them, then me again. But during the middle, they were there. They were neighbors of each other, my two cousins. So they say, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just gonna hang out here." So why don't you come over? I said, "No, I'm good because I don't want to ask my mom permission." And my stepfather, he was a jerk. Like, well, they don't even know when you leave. Just I said, you know what, you're right. So it was already late, probably about 11:30, 12 on a weekday. I think it was like a Thursday or something. So we start walking, and my cousin Sergio has the Walkman because he's listening to his tapes. And so, when you're walking, you're kind of pumped up because you're listening to music. So he's walking faster than us. So he's already taken the lead. And me and my cousin Edgar were talking. Well, he's mainly talking. I'm listening. He's telling me some story that I honestly don't remember what he was telling me because I was like, this is a dream. I'm just looking around and I could see there was on Wilcox and Florence, there used to be a 7-Eleven in that corner across the street from McCarl's Jr. Yeah. And I could see a car. All right. So I saw a car come out and run the red light. And he's swerving because he's driving so fast and, he's kind of losing control of the vehicle. And I remember cutting out my cousin. I said, "See that car right there?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "He just did a beer run." He says, "How do you know?" I said, "Because the way he just ran that red light. He's running from 7-Eleven. He just told something." He's like, "Oh, well, whatever, F that guy." So I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So then I see my cousin starting to jaywalk, and the car's coming in our direction. We're still on the sidewalk, but now my cousin Sergio is beginning to jaywalk, but he's kind of far in front of us. I said, "Hey, you think Sergio sees that car?" He goes, "Yeah, he's seen it, man." He's kind of like shutting me up because he's telling the story, and I keep cutting him off by talking to him about the car and my cousin. I said, "No, I'm just saying because of Sergio." And something told me, man, I gotta say something. I said, "Hey, Sergio," I said, "look out, that car looks kind of crazy." And I yelled it to him, and my cousin didn't react. So here comes the car, hits my cousin so hard, and the car hit and run, takes off. And I remember looking at the car because I was trying to get a description of it. Older model, kind
Fuck.
of like a like a Lincoln or something, like a sky blue color. And I say sky blue because they have parts that were white, kind of like bad paint job. Like they're trying to fix it up. And I remember my cousin and I ran up to my cousin Sergio, and I got there first. I started shaking him because he's on the ground, lifeless. Sergio, wake up. Sergio, speak to me. And I'm shaking him and nothing. I don't see blood or nothing, but he's just lifeless. And then Edgar's like
Did he get launched?
shaking him. I just remember him taking the impact and then kind of lying like a knockout, dude, flat on the ground. So I
Oh,
don't
good.
exactly remember.
Better than being
I
fucking
remember,
shot.
like I said, yeah. So and then like they said, this is a dream. It hasn't happened. It's a dream. So and my
Oh,
cousin starts punching him. My cousin starts punching him in the face. I said, "What are you doing?" Because I'm afraid he's gonna do more damage to Sergio. Because I don't know if he's dead yet or not. He says, "I'm trying to shock his system so he wakes up." I said, "No, man, you're gonna make it worse." I said, "You just you stop." And I was able to get him to stop, and we're shaking him. And I wake up, and I'm in tears. Dude, I was crying. I never, to this day, I never cried that like that in my dreams ever. Now I'm freaking crying, like, and I started praying, thanking God that it was a dream and it wasn't real. I was like, "Oh man, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus." It was just a dream. Thank you. Like, kind of like, what are you trying to tell me? So like, it felt like there was a message in there that I wasn't understanding. So exactly a week passes. No, I'm sorry. The next day, hours later, I called Sergio, and there's been other incidents that through my life that my family, especially my cousins and my mom, my stepfather, they've known, like kind of like you. So my cousins would make fun of me. And they would call me Warlock. As a like a making fun of me. Hey Warlock, hey fucking Warlock. They would call me. And I said, hey Sergio, hey, what's up? I had a Warlock dream. I said, about you. I was like, what? I said, yeah. Oh no, man. Well, what happened? What happened? I said, well, I saw you getting hit by a car. He's like, oh man. My mom just told me to go get some tortillas from across the street at the corner store. He goes, I'm gonna send Joey, his younger brother. I said, no, man, we'll go, but just look both ways before you cross. He says, no, I ain't going. I don't want to get hit by a car. So he was gonna tell his brother to go instead. And I kind of laughed because I thought it was funny. But I said, all right, well, just watch out, dude, because you're tagged. You're gonna get hit. Very confident that he's gonna get hit by a car. So then I call his neighbor, my cousin, because they're always walking together. I said, hey, Edgar, I had one of those warlock dreams. Oh, yeah, what's up, man? Tell me about it. I said, well, what I could remember is, I said, Sergio's going to get hit by a car. I didn't give him all the details that I just told you. I just told him what I could, because you know how you start forgetting your dreams? But
yeah.
thinking back, I was remembering the detail. So I just know that he gets hit by a car. He says, you're always with him. If he gets hit by a car, you're going to get hit by a car. So just look both ways before you cross the street with him so you won't get hit. He's like, no, fuck that. I ain't walking with him. It's like, right now he's too hot. I'm going to wait a while before I walk. And I was just laughing. I just, keep an eye on him, man. It's like, all right, whatever. A week passes. I told these two guys, my cousins, the story. It's Thursday. Sergio comes over with Edgar to my garage. Say, hey, what's up, man? I just bought these two cassettes. And I'm just like, man, I'm getting a bad headache, dude, like a migraine. I don't know why. And I'm like, he's like, hey, could I borrow your Walkman? Man, this feels like I've done this before, right? I'm like, yeah, just be careful with it. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And I'm just like, so I lend him the Walkman. And, some time passes, they're hanging out. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I'm just going to kick back here. He's like, why don't you come over with us and hang out with us? So now I don't want to ask my mom permission. And, everything's deja vu, like repeating itself. So come on, just go. They're not going to notice. I said, all right, let's go. So I start walking with them. And Edgar's telling me a story. Sergio has the Walkman. He takes lead. He's in front of us, kind of distant. And I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, this feels like I've done this before, but I'm still not connecting the dots in my head. It just feels like I've been here before in this same situation. I look up, I see Wilcox and Florence. I see the same 11. Guy comes out, gets in the car, runs a red light. He's swerving. And I'm like, dude, that man just did a beer run. I said, how do you know? I said, because look at the way he's driving. He just ran the red light. And I'm like, I said, hey, editor. So what? I'm having deja vu, dude. I've done this before. And editor's like, what? So yeah, man, just whatever you're doing, go just keep doing the same thing. He goes, oh, did I do this? And my cousin starts moving his hands like this. Honestly, it turns off because never did that in the dream. And I felt it turn off. I said, dude, you just fucked up my deja vu, man. What? Oh man, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna fuck up your deja vu. I go, dude, you just fucked it up, man. You never did that. Don't be doing that shit. I go, just talk to me about whatever you. All right. So then he hits me like, all right, well, listen to me then. You keep cutting me off. Like, all right, it's back on, dude. It's back on. All right. So you just keep. So my cousin's telling me a story, and I see the car, and I say, like, hey, you think Sergio sees that car? He goes, yeah, man, don't worry about it, man. Just let me tell you the story. Hey, Sergio, as I'm saying the words, hey, Sergio, look out. The car looks kind of crazy. I'm like, dude, I've said that before. It hits me. Now I start running, dude. Boom, running as fast as I can, running. I grab my cousin from the back, and I moved him out of the way of the car, dude. He slid. I moved him. We used to have long hair back then. You know how we all kind of had like shoulder length hair, like the
Yeah.
crow type, you know? Our hair, I don't know if it went this way or that way because of the impact of the how close the vehicle was. And my cousin slid off my body, and I had him by the shoulders. You know, I was holding on to him, and he just looked up, took the Walkman off. It's like, fucking chill, you saved my life. I said, hey, you didn't see that car? I said, no, man, I was just into the music. I didn't even look. And Edgar starts running, oh, you fucking warlock. You told him he was going to get hit by a car. You told him. I said, what about the car? Did you see the color of the car? Was it bluish? And they were saying, yeah, I think it was blue. It's like, oh, man, you fucking told him. I said, dude. I
Oh
said,
shit.
I told you, Edgar, I was having deja vu. And that's exactly my dream. I was reliving the dream. And that's what made me feel that you could change your future, because I was given a preview of what was going to happen, but this time instead of allowing it, I was able to go in there and make that difference by just pulling him out of the way. Go into the future, me and Edgar get hit by a car. It wasn't him and Sergio, it was me and Edgar. Edgar cracks his head open on the asphalt, and I cracked my head on the hood of the truck. I never told you that story either, right? In North Hollywood, I had my head cracked open. Those, see that mark right here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of weird because I saw him getting hit with Sergio, but it never happened with it happened with me when I gave him the heads up too. That's a whole different story. Um, so yeah, dude, we went to Cudahy and we just talked about it for some time because it was like freaking crazy. So every now and then when I would talk to Sergio and we had something came up, I said, hey man, I saved your life, bro. Come on. I was like, yeah, all right. And he has to give in to me. He's trying to hold me. So yeah, that's just one, dude.
That's
But I've
funny.
had other situations in Maywood on Slauson, and I forgot the cross street. It was close to a Jim's Hamburgers. I was working construction with my stepfather, and we had just finished, so it was about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And one rule he had is you couldn't sleep in his truck because your job is to keep him awake so he doesn't, hit something. Because we used to wake up so early to go work. We would drive to Bakersfield from LA, work, and then drive back. Or Lancaster. So it was about a 2.5 hour drive to get there, work, 8 hours, come back. And so I had a headache and I said, I'm just gonna close my eyes. So we were close to the shop already. So I figured he won't notice. So I'm just closing my eyes. As soon as I closed my eyes, I got a vision that we were at the pretty much the same intersection I was on. And I remember looking at the light, it was a red light. And in my dream, I looked to the left to see if anybody was crossing the street. And sure enough, there was a Hispanic man, blue jeans, white shirt tucked in. And I see him. And he's walking down the street. I remember looking over my right shoulder. It's a yellow, older model. I think it's a Trans Am. The one that has the Firebird. It has that bird on the front of the hood. Remember those
The
older late
80s?
night riders? Yes. It was one of those, like either
Yeah.
late 70s or 80s. Yellow, rusty color. And he's coming fast, dude, because he doesn't see the guy crossing the street because he's on the far right lane. And this guy's he's just starting to cross the street and he's freaking hauling ass. And I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, he's going to run the red light because he's going too fast. I know he's not going to stop. So as soon as he's coming and the man's crossing the street, boom, he hits the man. The man goes up in the air, dude. The Trans Am runs the red. The guy lands on the ground. He gets up. He dusts off his pants. He walks away like nothing happened.
Holy
And I'm
shit.
looking at it. Yeah, yeah. And then he just walks away. And I'm like, I wake up. I'm like, oh, that was weird. Then I look at the light. I'm like, all right, we're on the red line. I look to see if somebody's crossing. And there's that guy, dude, I just saw seconds ago. So I go, Alberto, ponte los lentes. I told myself, hey, put your glasses on. He looked at me. I said, hey, don't look at me. I said, see that man right there? He's like, yeah. He's about to get hit by a car. Open the glove compartment, gave him his glasses. He puts them on. I go, don't look at. I go, just look at him. I turn to my right. There's the yellow Trans Am, dude. I put it on my kids, everybody.
Holy shit.
It comes the Trans Am coming fast, and people say, well, why didn't you say something? But this is the first time like anything like this happened to me, so I'm more kind of like a spectator. Like, oh, this is crazy. I see the Trans Am coming in fast. Here comes the man. Boom. Hits him. Guy goes up in the air. Trans Am runs the light. He lands on the ground, dusts off his pants, and he walks away like it happens every day, no big deal. My stepfather's like in Spanish, I forgot how he's kind of like, oh shit, how did you do that? How did you do that? You're a witch. That's how the warlock name started because of him. He's calling me a witch. He goes, how did you do that? You better not do anything to me because we didn't get along. And I was like, I'm not gonna do anything. I was just kind of smiling, thinking about it, but I never, did anything. So he takes me to Circle
Like,
K.
you better
He
not
takes me
fuck
to
around,
Circle
right?
K. And you know what he was doing though? What he was doing is he was getting lotto tickets. He wanted me to guess the freaking numbers of the lottery to give to him. And he goes, hey. And I'm like, what? And dude,
Dirty.
I was 13, 14 years old. He's like, give me the numbers. I'm like, what? Yeah. I said, I don't see anything because I ain't like him enough to say anything. Not that I did see anything, but regardless, I wouldn't have helped him. And I got me a drink
Yeah.
and went back to his shop, and he's calling my mom and a few uncles. Es brujo, tu hijo es brujo. Your son's a witch, your son's a witch. He's like, what happened? So he's explaining the story, his version of it. And that was that. But that's how the family started hearing of little things, like that I would see or whatever. And, I would tell people, like I said, I never claimed I had powers or anything like that at all. I just said it was like some people, I think everybody has it. It just like you said, like if you're in tune with it, that you could kind of use it or, but I honestly feel everybody has it. It's if you're kind of looking or you're paying attention to it or, something like that. I can't answer.
Yeah.
There's been situations where, I do something and people will thank me. I say, hey, don't thank me. I said, thank God. God put me in that situation to help you. It wasn't me. Like God works through other people to do miracles or whatever the situation is. I can't take it because it's not me. You're almost on cruise control and being guided by something to make you do the right thing or whatever the situation was. I've done plenty
Yeah.
of things like that, like I said, I don't take the credit for it. Yeah, I did it, but I don't take, because it honestly doesn't feel like it's me. It's like, you know what? I got to do this. I got to do that. And I just follow the instruction. And then I end up doing it. It's like, all right, I'll tell them, hey, you don't have to thank me. Thank God. And they just like, okay, and that's it. I'm not going to say, yeah, you better thank me. I'm the big hero. It's like, no, because I know it's nothing of me. You're like a
Yeah.
vessel for something else. And yeah, those are the ones I could think of. So we're in Las Vegas when I had first got with my wife. We were seeing each other, and I told her a lot of these warlock stories that I'm telling you. So she comes in. She went to Albertsons to the grocery store, right? She said, all right, quickly, how much did I spend? And I was watching the Anaheim Ducks play a hockey game in the playoffs. And I said, what? She goes, quickly, and she's trying to give me no time. She goes, quickly, how much did I spend at the grocery store? I said, I don't know, $231.18. And she's like, how did you do that? I said, was that close? I'm kind of impressed because I saw her face. Was that close? What was that off by like 2 cents or 5 cents? What? And she just looked at me with her mouth open. She goes, no, that's exactly what I spent to the penny.
Oh
I wasn't off
shit.
by
Oh
one.
shit.
She goes, how do you do that? I don't know. I go, as soon as you told me that, she came out of nowhere. That's the number that popped in my head. That's why when you're talking about numbers and all that, I never knew anything about that. This is news to me. I've heard of the name, the number numerology, but I don't know anything about it. So I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy
I
because
got a good
there's
numbers
times
one too.
that, all right, go for it.
But go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep
But
going.
that was pretty much it, just enough that it tripped her out. Like, how did you guess? I go, you said it, the number came in, I told you. There wasn't any thought behind it. It just blah, just came out of my mouth, you know?
Yeah.
That's all I have for that one.
Oh, so I got a Vegas one too.
Okay.
So my friend Victor, he invited me to go to Vegas with them, and you know, he was in the army, so pretty much he would be stationed in Fort Irwin or different places. And when he'd come to town, he'd be like, "Hey, let's go to Vegas, whatever." So like, all right, cool. And it was always his treat. I never really gambled anyway, and I just went along for the ride, and we just got fucked up, whatever. Um, so one day, where I don't even know what casino it's at, but he likes to play blackjack. So he's playing blackjack, and over to my left, out there on the other side, I could see the roulette tables. Right. I've never played roulette. I don't gamble. I never had money to gamble,
Yeah.
so it kind of just not my thing. Even when it
Yeah.
comes to like craps or anything, I'm just not a gambler. I'll play slots now and then. Back in those days, especially going to Vegas, I mean, I'm lucky if I have fucking $100, and that's a lot for me back then. So my friend's playing craps, and I just happen to peek over, and I'm looking at the people playing. I mean, I could see I'm probably like, I don't know, 15 feet away from the table, maybe 20, and I could see the numbers in lights, right? That are coming, or that I already previously passed. For whatever reason, I just think black 16. I don't know why. I don't even know why I came up with black. I don't
Yeah.
know why 16, but the numbers were either red or they lit up in yellow. The yellow lights were black and the reds were red. Oh, black 16 came up like fucking seconds after I thought of it. I was like, holy shit, it's fucking crazy. And then for whatever reason, the next, I was like, all right, let's see. And I'm looking and go, for whatever reason, Michael Jordan popped in my head. I said, red 23. And then red 23 came out. I was like, what the fuck? I'm not at the table. I can see it from like 20 feet away. And then whatever numbers are popping up, that's what came up next. It's like, what the fuck? So I tell my friend Victor, you're not going to believe me, bro. I swear to God. I just guessed two numbers in wrong. He's like, oh shit, you better go play. And I'm like, all right. So I'm looking again, look at the machine. And a shot came to my mind. Red 34. Red 34 came out. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, Victor, I guess 3 in a row. He goes, here's $20. Go play. Soon as I get there, I didn't know what the fuck to think, what the fuck to do. Remember how you're talking about the fucking deja vu going away
Uh-huh.
when that's what happened or whatever? So so when I got there, I felt like I had no energy. Like whatever was channeling my numbers, it was gone because I was like,
Right.
I they gave me $20 and I must have split
Blank.
it up. Split- Like I picked like 3 numbers or whatever, and for 4 numbers, and none of them hit. That was the end of that.
That's how that works.
Yeah, it's
And
fucking
it's like
crazy, man. You can't use it for the gambling.
and I don't like you, I don't gamble either. I've gambled a few times, but I usually gamble my spare change or something, or I'll put like a $20
Yeah,
just to kind of say everybody else is playing. And I try to play like pennies so it lasts longer because like I tell people the casinos are there to win. They're not there to lose money. They're there to make money. And
yeah,
what you would call it. So I'm there with my friend Fernando. I don't know if you remember him or not. And we're in Vegas. We drove from Cali to Vegas. We felt like go partying over there. And he's like, man, we're playing Keno. It's kind of like bingo. And I won a few times playing 50 cents, 75 cents. My loose change, right? And so I have a
yeah,
pretty good winning record in Keno. I'll get 6 out of 6. And I normally play the Clipper jersey numbers, the starting lineup, the bench, my favorite Clippers, whatever. And he's a
yeah.
big Laker fan. So we're sitting next to each other. He's like, man, I never win. I said, dude, well, you're a Laker fan. Why don't you play the Laker jerseys? He goes, well, I don't even know all their numbers. I'm like, well, look. I said, I bet if you play the Clipper jerseys, yours are going to hit. I said, well, here, go ahead. And I went over and I freaking put the Clipper jerseys. Bam, he hits $208 off a quarter. He made $208. He's like,
Oh
"Oh shit, I
shit!
never won. I never won before." I'm like, "I told you I went with the freaking Clipper jersey numbers." He goes, "Come on, let's go have a steak. It's on me." He's like, "All right." So we went. He paid for the whole meal, big old prime roast, proud with it ribeye. Had a good meal. It was a very good meal. Not bad for a quarter. But
Right.
what you call it? What else I'm thinking of? I'm trying to
I
remember
want to
other
jump
ones that I've had
really
like
quick
that.
about about talking about nightmares and shit. So
Okay,
I used to
go
get
for it.
these like nightmares about like a lot of times I have nightmares where I'm like arguing with my dad or fighting with my dad. Like we had a not very great relationship for many years. I'm sure, and a lot of it was the way he is. A lot of it is also too the way I was in like drink, whatever, whatever. I had a lot of anger towards him for many years. All that's past already. That now that I don't drink, and he sees me different. I see myself different. Things are a lot better. Um,
Yeah, good.
I have a lot of nightmares, and I always felt too like when I would get into these nightmares right before going to sleep. Maybe it was whatever the fuck I was using or whatever. I would like close my eyes. And I was almost restless, and then like once I feel like I'm falling asleep or getting into, I feel like I'm getting sucked in, like right, and it was scaring me. Like I didn't want to go to sleep. I didn't want to go to sleep, and I got tired of that shit. And I just said, "Fuck it, fuck it. If it's the fucking devil, whoever it is, that wants to scare me, or wants to bring me in, fuck it, let's go in." So I started to go to my nightmares whenever that shit would happen. It would come out and be like, "What's up, motherfucker? Like, where are you? Like, what's up?" And ever since I started to confront my dreams, I stopped having nightmares. And the crazy thing was, I think I might have had one nightmare in the last, I don't know, man, maybe 10 years, 15
Good.
years.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
That's
and
very good.
mostly because I decided to, or maybe shorter, but I haven't had a
To
nightmare in a long
fix
time
it.
because I would want to go at them, at the nightmares.
Yeah.
What else?
So
Fuck, I don't know.
then you made me remember something. When I was in Mexico during that time, right? Or that story with the woman. So I'm in Mexico and I got a weird feeling, you know? And one of the feeling was that my cousin Edgar, something bad was gonna happen to him. And it was life threatening. I don't know if he was gonna live or die. I didn't know. So I told my tia Tere, my aunt Teresa, I said, hey, because back then, long distance calls were very expensive, especially from a different country. I'm in Mexico. I said, hey,
Yeah.
when are you gonna call the United States? She's like, why? I said, I need to talk to my cousin Edgar. I'm 13-year-old kid. She's kind of like, whatever. I said,
Yeah.
please, could you let me know whenever you do call? Because I need to talk to Edgar. I said, I'll be fast. And she just kind of like, whatever. She didn't give me like an answer. She just kind of like, whatever. So I think the very next day, I hear she's on the phone and she's talking. And I could tell she's talking to my Aunt Martha, which is Edgar's mom. And I was like, and she didn't tell me nothing. So I'm kind of pissed off, but at the same time, it's like, I want to get past that because I still need to talk to Edgar. So I figured I'm just going to
Yeah.
bother her. So I got up to her. I said, hey, are you talking to Martha? I said, because I need to talk to Edgar. Please, please, I'll be fast. And she's kind of like, say, hey. So she puts on Edgar on the phone. He's like, well, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Like he's older than me by like 5 years. So he's 18, I'm 13. He's kind of like, what do you want? I'm busy. I'm getting ready to
Yeah.
leave. Like, hurry up. Like, make it fast because I'm taking that his time, right? I go, hey,
Yeah.
are you going out right now? He's like, yeah, man. What do you want? They're picking me up right now. I said, dude, could you stay home? He's like, what? I said, yeah, man. I said, make it a blockbuster night. Remember those commercials? I said, dude, just make
Yeah.
it a blockbuster night. Stay home. I said, what do you mean? I said, because I have a bad feeling something bad's going to happen. So I don't care if we go out next week, but don't go out today. I told him not to go out. And he was like, whatever, man, and pretty much brushed me off. That was it. He got off the phone. I gave the phone back to my aunt. He goes out to a party in Pico Rivera. Okay. And he goes there with like 5 of his friends, his good friends. One of them that reminded me of you. His name was Tony. I think, yeah, that was Tony. I think he was a Marine. For some reason, that was his military friend. So you were my military friend back then during that time. And whatchamacallit, um, he goes to the party with them and they had a rapping contest and my cousin used to rap. So he gets on the stage, but he didn't have a DJ. So he asked the guy that had just rapped. He was a little guy. Like, hey, you mind hooking me up? And he told them what song to put that one song up. The one from the George Lopez show. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
You know that
lowrider?
song? What's it called? The Lowrider?
Yeah,
Lowrider,
lowrider?
yeah. Yeah, so he put that beat for my cousin. My cousin was rapping to that beat, and the crowd was getting into it, and he was kicking ass, rapping, freestyling, and not just that, but he was making fun of the guy that rapped before him. So the guy gets on stage. Guy gets on stage with some homeboys. Say, hey, do you know who the f you're talking to? This is so and so from a gang. I don't want to say it, from a gang. And my cousin's like, whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck, whatever. Kind of shines him off. He finishes rapping, whatever. He does his thing. And an hour or two, they leave the party. And I remember my cousin, he was the one telling me the story when I got back. So they're walking to the parking lot to get back into their cars. And my cousin said it sounded like the ocean, like the waves of the ocean. But that was the sound of 50 to 60 guys, dude, from that gang running up to them and creating a circle around them. And my cousin's there with his 4 or 5 friends. And he says, hey, man, it's like, one on one. Kind of like, dude, we can't face this whole sea of cholos. So one on one. He goes,
Yeah.
nah, he's too small. He's too small. So the shot caller points at a bigger guy. He goes, like, you. So he gets in, and my cousin squares up, and pow, 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 pow. My cousin takes him down. He says, hey, the cholo, the leader, points at another one. Pow, pow, pow. My cousin takes him down. Third guy comes, pow, pow, pow. And he sees that my cousin's starting to take him down when he just hears the guy say, fuck it. They come in. Everybody's fighting like 5, 6 guys per of his friends. They're getting jumped. So my cousin said, man, he felt like he was Chavez because he couldn't miss. There were so many guys he was fighting. Every punch he was landing. So he just swinging like crazy. And one small guy, I don't know if it was the rapper or not, jumps on
Fuck.
top of my cousin, gets his knife and starts stabbing him in the back. Every time he stabs him, he pulls the knife down 9
Oh,
times,
fuck.
rips open both his lungs. Boom, through the rib cage. And my cousin didn't feel it
Fuck.
because the adrenaline, he's sweating. He felt like a cold sweat. So my cousin, he says he was swinging punches, and he remembers feeling the guy on top of him. He like brings him down, but then he collapses. So my cousin collapses with his eyes open, but just like the blood's draining out of him. Another guy pulls out his gun, puts it towards his face, and everybody's running because they already believe he's already dead. And they're pulling on the guy. And my cousin sees the gun, and he knows if he blinks, this guy's going to shoot him. So my cousin just staying there lifeless, trying not to blink because he knows this guy's going to kill him. So the guy's pointing at the gun, wanting to shoot, and they're pulling us. Dude, he's dead already. They're pulling him. So the guy goes, and he takes off because he wanted to freaking shoot him. He takes off. So his friends are all badly beat up too, but they're better than my cousin because they're not stabbed. They managed to grab him and they take him to the hospital. And he had a 50-50 chance of survival, but luckily he survived it. But punctured both lungs. And he was in the hospital, if I remember correctly, close to 2 weeks, IV and tubes going everywhere so he could breathe because he couldn't breathe, the lungs couldn't sustain the air. And he survived it. But the thing is, I told him to stay home that week because I had a bad feeling. And I never said, hey, you didn't listen to me, nothing. I was just kind of like, I knew it. I knew something bad. I didn't know what, but I knew he could have lost his life. But that's that story.
It's fucking
But
crazy, bro.
so yeah, that's one time I went to Vegas. I was visiting my wife back then. We were just dating. And the bus was dead, dude, but it took forever. Something it took 6 hours to get there from LA because of all the stops to Vegas. And I took some VHS movies because they had little monitors, TV monitors. You could watch movies there. So I would take some movies. And that day I was just relaxing. And something told me that we were gonna stop, pick up a guy, and the guy was gonna want to talk to me. I was like, oh man, I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to relax. I was just not in the mood to talk to anybody, especially a stranger that I don't know.
Yeah.
So we stopped, dude. And they see a car. I guess a car overheated, and there's a man there. He gets into the bus, and I knew if he got in the bus, we're gonna make eye contact, and that eye contact's gonna make him approach me and ask if he could sit next to me. So I didn't want to do any of that. So I said, I got to avoid eye contact with him. So I'm looking anywhere but towards the front of the bus. I'm looking, and I want to look so badly, but I'm stopping myself. So I say, let me count to 30. So I'm counting to 30, counting an extra 10 seconds just to make sure. As soon as I turn, we lock eyes, dude. And he starts walking towards me, and I'm like, fuck. So I look down,
He said,
and I
"Hey,
feel like
best friend."
he's standing right in front of me. He goes, excuse me, sir. And I look up, like, yeah. He says, I don't know, but something told me to come talk to you. I said, yeah, I know. He goes, you knew that already? I said, yeah. He says, you mind if I sit next to you? I said, no, kind of like it was meant to be. So I moved my stuff and he sat next to me. He goes, hey, what's your name? And I said, my real name. And I don't know if you're familiar, but my name's biblical. I'm named after Elijah. And he was a guy that could see, what was going to happen. Kind of
Oh,
like a
damn.
prophet in a sense. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and God banished them from earth because they wanted to kill him because they were saying that he was causing all those things. But he would say, hey, if you do this is going to happen. God told me if you do this, and everything was happening. So they were blaming him like if he was a freaking witch. So God just banished him because he was loyal to God. He wanted to see him go through suffering and stuff because they wanted to kill him. So he said, oh, that's your name. He's like, oh man, he was a pastor. So he was a religious man. He goes, my car overheated. I prayed, and then this bus came. And I asked if they could give me a free ride, and he said yes. And then something told me to talk to you. I said, I know. Because you already need. I said, yeah. I said, that happens to me all the time. I go, I see things and then they happen. And so he wasn't like, oh wow, he wasn't impressed. He was just like, no big deal too. And we just talked about other things. And well, he's gonna give a sermon at this church in Vegas. So that's why he was going there when his car overheated. And that was it. It was nothing crazy, but little things like that throughout life have happened to me where, I entered, did you ever go to the comic book store on Florence? It was just there for a little bit next, close to the 7-Eleven on Wilcox. There was one in the
No,
90s. In the 90s, there when Image Comics first came
I
out.
don't think I went.
No. So
Right on.
I went there with my friend Fernando, and they had a raffle going on. And there was tons of people in that comic book store, man. So I said, I'm going to put in for the raffle. So as I'm signing my name, printing my name and then signing it, I could feel I already won the raffle. And for some weird reason, my friend Fernando felt it too. He's like, he goes, how come I have a feeling you're going to win? I go, so do I. I go, not third place, but first place. So we went back to his house because the raffle was in like 3 hours from now, and he lived close in Cudahy. So we went to his apartment, and we're there at his place. And I looked at the time. I go, hey, you want to go? He's like, no, you're going to win anyways. I said, well, you don't want to see? He's like, nah. He was very confident too. So I show up. They announced and I'm by the door because it's packed. So I'm way, like sardines. I'm way in the back of the front of the building, really. They're by the registers. So they said third place, and some other guy wins it. And I move up a little closer because I knew I got to get closer. Second place, some other guy wins it. So then I get even more closer to the point that I'm like almost arm's length from the guy. So he pulls the name and he makes a face like he's never seen my name before. Like, how do you pronounce it, right? I said, Eliseo. Well, what's your last name? I said, Galarza. How do you spell it? I spelled it. You have some ID? I'm the only one there asking for ID. Nobody else. Because I'm telling him already that I won before he even says my name. And then he gets
Yeah.
my ID. He looked at it. So, yeah, that's you. And he gave me a set. It was a Marvel cards. It was worth, I don't know, it was like $300-400 nowadays, dude. Because it was the first series.
Oh, Marvel series.
Yeah,
Well,
so
yeah, I got the collection, bro. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, yeah. So I had that collection back then. And that was it. Like I said, there's nothing crazy, but little things like that always happen to me. That I was like, shit. Like happen to be at the right place at the right time sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You just gotta be able to open it up sometimes. Like, there's been a couple of times where, I'm confident that the scratcher or whatever number they got, they're gonna win. And it's a little bit of money. It's always
Yeah,
$2, $5, $10. But
yeah.
sometimes I
It's
just know,
deep.
like I'll say, yeah, I'm just here to get my money, or I'll say, oh, let me get my winning numbers. And I'm just waiting for that one to just fucking give me enough so I can be debt free with my family and
Yeah.
enjoy the rest.
Yep.
But
No, I hear you.
yeah, man.
Somebody just won the Mega Millions over here yesterday, right in the city too.
No shit.
Yeah, I saw it on the internet. I was like, "Oh
I just
shit!"
want
It wasn't me.
1%.
I don't play. Yeah,
Just
I think they
1%.
won two. I think it was $2 million they won because you know how it
Man.
builds up. All right, brother. I say we stop it for today. So I have to wake up in 4 hours to go to work.
Yeah, I gotta like save 4 or 5 hours. I gotta be up.
All right, brother. Well, good chat, man. No, we'll text tomorrow.
Hell yeah, great chat, man, for sure.
Have a good night, brother. Talk to you tomorrow
You
in a
too,
few
brother. Great
hours.
talking to you.
All right,
Yeah.
later on.
Enjoy your day, brother.